We asked our viewers, who in basketball would you love to have a beer with? I choose Kate Scott.
Brown ales don't get no respect. We're gonna fix that.
With Lew Bryson and Kate Scott, I'm Glen Macnow from C Brewing in Norristown for a new episode of What's Brewing.
So, what do you want to do today?
Today, I want to run. I want to skate.
Thank you.
I want to see a show. I want to play. I want to eat, like a lot. I want to sleep in a hotel. Can we do all that?
We can do all that and more.
Hey, welcome to What's Brewing. I'm Glen Macnow. This is my partner, Lew Bryson, host of Seen Through a Glass podcast, beer and whiskey aficionado. And this is one of our favorite guests, Kate Scott, the great broadcaster for the 76ers, came out to C Brewing in Norristown to join us today. I am drinking this Midnight on the Priory Brown Ale, which we're going to get to in a second. What about you?
I'm drinking the OG Pils because this brewery dates back to 1860 through the Schmitz brand, right? And this is the last brewmaster, Adam Rossetti's from Schmitz. It's part of their recipe.
Love
so
it.
1860 to 2025.
What about you?
Get the NFA Czech pills. Just gorgeous.
Nice. So,
Lou, a man of many words.
Oh, I just want to get into beer.
Kate's a good beer gal. So we said to Kate, we do a swap. What do you want to do? You chose brown ale.
I did.
Why?
Yeah.
And while you're talking, why don't you open one?
Okay, you want me to talk and try to
And
pour
do
beer
that at the same time,
Well, I feel like we talk about all the other beers a lot, but brown ales often get forgotten. So you know this about me, Glenn. I graduated from UC Berkeley, which to me was a very big deal, prestigious university out on the West Coast, and I am not a genius by any means. So when I was headed to my last final, knowing I was going to pass it and graduate, I decided I was not going to take water in my, which was then cool, Nalgene bottles. I was going to take a Newcastle brown ale with me. So this always reminds me of a great day in my life, passing my final college
Not this
final.
one in, did you?
Oh, yeah.
And celebrating during and then after as I was walking back to my apartment. And also, I grew up an English Premier League fan, and Alan Shearer was a big striker then, and he wore the black and white kit, and Newcastle was actually sponsored by Newcastle Beer.
So it's a British brown ale.
Yeah.
And some of the other, we have American brown ale.
Yeah.
Difference among them?
Mostly hops. It's always hops. Whenever you say, this is American, this is British, the difference is more hops in the American.
All right. So I got Nubian. This is out of Philly from two brothers, and I want to go over this a little bit because I like this beer and I like this brewery.
Yeah, two locals. I love that spot.
Two locals.
Yeah.
Biggie.
And by the way, I've been trying to get these guys on the show and they don't answer my emails. Fellas, I'd love to have you
Come
be
on.
part of the show.
Come on the show.
Anyway, what do you know about this one, Lou?
It's being made at Mainstay, am I correct?
University City Brewery, 5.7%, very lightly roasty, malty. I really enjoy their beers, and
It's
I really
almost like
enjoy
a
this.
cakey note to it. I like that, like chocolate cake almost.
You and I sometimes talk about our personal favorites and why they don't catch on more.
Yeah.
This is Kate. Why is this such a good,
I know.
style of beer?
Just sit and drink it. I mean, this is an all-day drinker. You know?
I feel like
Doesn't grab you by the throat.
everything is having its moment over the last decade. So I feel like maybe brown ales will
It's going
be
to come
next.
into its own
Yeah.
one of these
Maybe.
days. We're ready.
IPAs and sours, we're over that, right?
Okay.
Come on,
Yeah.
brown ales are next.
So you moved out to the hinterlands
I did.
of northern Pennsylvania,
Central
deer country.
Pennsylvania. I'm
Central Pennsylvania.
like right in the middle of it.
Right. Okay. And so you brought one local to where you live.
I did.
Right?
This is literally down the hill from me. We walked to the place. This is Brookie Brown Ale from Elk Creek Cafe and Ale Works.
That's got a really
They have this
color
on
to it.
all the time. They have a brown ale on every day.
Yeah, as you should.
As you should, exactly.
It's just such an easy to sip and drink beer.
Yep.
It feels like a beer that you could have every night.
I actually have this on tap at my house right now. I do.
Well, you win the day, Lou.
I really like
All right, a couple others that we brought out.
I feel like we should be impressed, Lou. Maybe
I am, yeah, really. This is Hellstown Mischievous from Pittsburgh, a beer I like. This is one of my 5 or 6 favorite beers ever, the Samuel Smith's Nut Brown Ale. Share this with a friend. That's rather large. I had one, here. Brooklyn Brown Ale, which you said...
Bill Moeller beer.
Who we put in
our
the Hall of Fame
guy.
This is a good one too. Northern California.
Oh, your neck of the
Downtown
woods, right?
Brown. Yeah. This was one of the second or
We used
third
to see that a lot
brown
around
ales.
here.
Yeah. Well, it's such a cool label too,
Yeah.
right?
Let's talk about you a little bit.
Do we have to?
Yes, because I'm going to
Just
be
gonna
honest.
keep drinking.
I know you really well. Lou, not a sports fan, wasn't as familiar.
Not at all familiar.
But
wow, well, former librarian, I researched and came up with a profile article on Kate that, literally blew me away. I was just really impressed, and I'm sorry if that's, I know, but.
Little fanboy.
Yeah,
No. Wanted to be a teacher, wanted to be an educator, wanted to have a positive impact on the next generation. And then Mr. Schmozzle, who is also a beer drinker, doesn't that name sound like it? Junior year in high school said, I just want to reflect something to you. I think it's awesome you want to work in education. Obviously, I've made a career out of it. You're playing 4 varsity sports. You're writing about sports for the high school newspaper. You're leading cheers at Friday night football games. You're on the morning announcements. Like anything I could do with sports, whether playing or talking about or announcing for, I was doing. But again, this was late 90s, early 2000s. So there was very few women doing this. And he said, maybe you should go to UC Berkeley and think about sports, communication, broadcast. I don't know what, but just think about it. So that's what I did. And I wrote and I did radio and TV, and now here we are.
And I think it's great. And you've done all of the sports. You're now doing the Sixers, of course. And we may have discussed this last time. You are one of the 4 voices in Madden Football 2024.
Got a drink to that, yeah.
Which is just great.
I got to know about that. How does that even work?
It's
My
so
God, that's
much
got to be
fun.
hours of voiceover.
So for the first game that I was a part of, it came out Madden 25 in August because they come out before each football season. 160 hours of voiceover.
All right, we're going to talk more about that, more about your background, more about your beer drinking interests. And when we come back, we're going to talk about if you could have a beer with anybody in basketball, who would it be? We're at Von C Brewing in Norristown. Lew Bryson, Kate Scott, I'm Glen Macnow on What's Brewing.
This island is our home. Here, the rhythm of life is set to the ebb and flow of the tides. From sunrise serve sessions to sunset clam bakes, every moment is a shared experience among locals and visitors. A place where time slows down and problems are left behind as we cross over the causeway. Whether LBI is a summer colony to you, your home, or maybe you've never had the chance to visit, this is our way of capturing the essence of our island home for you to experience. We invite you to crack open a can and raise a glass as we celebrate the spirit of Long Beach Island with LBI Lager. Island inspired, brewed for the beach, enjoyed everywhere.
Hey, welcome back to What's Brewing. I'm Glen Macnow. This is Lew Bryson. We're at Von C Brewing. I am drinking the, of course, Walking on Clouds New England IPA. And you?
I have this is Mama Tried. It's a rye Pilsner, which I've never had before.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's see if he likes it.
That is a rye Pilsner. That's exactly what it is.
There you go.
Nice.
Kate Scott is our special guest today. Kate, the Sixers broadcast. By the way, we're taping this shortly after the Eagles won the Super Bowl. We know it's a few weeks later, but Kate is dressed appropriately.
Very shortly after.
There you go.
Go Birds.
That's right. And what do you got there?
I've got she probably lives in Waiheke. It's a New Zealand style Pilsner.
I like that.
And I'm a Pilsner fan, but I've never had a New Zealand one.
By the way, lace up and take part in the revolutionary 5-mile run, a one-of-a-kind race through historic Valley Forge National Historic Park. Sunday, April 13th. Experience breathtaking scenery while running for a cause, supporting park preservation and programming. Whether you're running for a personal record or just soaking in history and nature, the event's for you. Sign up today. Run where history was made. Check it out at valleyforge.org/revolutionary-run. So, I found this picture of Kate Scott through my Google machine of you seemingly at a game. By the way, love the pink blazer.
What?
Very stylish.
What is he
and
talking
somebody's
about?
handing you a beer. What's up with that? What is
I
that?
have no idea what you're talking about,
Okay,
Glenn.
well, the
Yeah, I must
photograph's
have blacked out.
2001.
No, the nonchalance alone.
It might have been a couple of postseasons ago. Note to self, if you're going to chug a beer while at work, don't do it while wearing a hot pink blazer.
Right, that definitely
You know
made
I'm
it
a passionate,
noticeable.
heart on my sleeve kind of girl, so things
Love
you
it.
learn through experience.
So we decided let's do a little thing on beer and basketball. There are
Yeah.
zillions of baseball-related beers.
Right, we've done that.
Football-related beers. We found hockey-related beers. Basketball, not so much. This is the Mark Zumhoff charity beer Conshohocken Brewing Company did with him a few years ago. So we asked on social media,
Yeah.
what basketball figure, past or present, would you like to share a beer with? Of course, everybody said Charles Barkley. But I got a couple for Wilt, a couple for Doc. Let's go through our list. Who you got?
I actually had somebody for this. I was kind of pleased. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Because for me, he's inspiring. Because everybody always gives me crap if I write about something other than beer and whiskey. They're like, stay in your lane.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
No.
No, he does
Got a
not. I
lot to
really
say.
like his writing.
And he's really very, very sharp. All right, who do you
Good
got?
choice. I gotta shout out Don Staley, North Philly zone, right?
Love
Because
Don Staley.
women's basketball is having a moment right now, but it is not here without what Dawn Staley has done. She has meant so much for this game. Yeah. What Allen Iverson, the swag, the Philly swag that he brought to the NBA, Dawn brought that to the women's game. And the explosion that is happening now does not happen without Dawn and that 96 team that led to the birth of the WNBA, and now the fact that she turned South Carolina into a women's basketball
Perennial
school.
champion. Love it.
And I've met her. She's awesome. So
She
beer
is. We
soon,
had her
Dawn.
on the show,
Yeah.
and I not this show, my radio show, and really like her.
Awesome.
I'm going the late, great Manute Bowl for very different reasons. They have very profound reasons and stuff. Manute was 7'7", weighed about 190 pounds.
Good God.
Spent his whole career trying to put on weight. And according to Jason Williams, a teammate of his when he was with the Sixers, Manute every game would drink a Heineken or two in the locker room before every game, naked, to help him gain weight.
Wow.
I don't know that I want to hang around a 7'7"
That's a lot of naked.
naked guy. Yeah, but.
I wonder how that helps with the gaining weight. Like the not having the clothes on?
I don't know, but I read a book about Manute Bol, and he was from the Sudan, and it was like being from another planet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he was just such an interesting, fascinating guy who went too early, and I love Manute Bol. All right, so let's take a few from our viewers. Grab one, we'll go around the horn.
Sure, I had one from David Middleton. I am thinking an uncensored Allen Iverson after a couple beers would be both entertaining and informative.
Like
the
it.
stories would be crazy.
From Kenneth, I apologize if I'm messing up your last name, Kenneth. Hugendubler? Is that what we think it is?
Sure.
Andrew Toney. I mean, speaking of great Sixers, one of the best all-time Sixers whose career was cut short by injury, yes. And not one who was very chatty with the media, but would love to hear about those epic 80s battles with Boston. You know what I want to say to Boston, but I don't want to get fired.
Jeff Pratt says John Chaney. I have had a beer with John Chaney. He judged my beer contest one year.
Yeah.
John got a little drunk a little quickly and enjoyed himself. He lived on Mount Airy. I used to run into him at the Brewers Outlet on Germantown Pike. He was into the Belgian section, so he knew something about good beer. John liked his beer. Yeah, go ahead.
Alex Goldsmith, beer and a joint with Bill Walton, and wouldn't we all?
I actually got to work with Bill Walton. Rest in peace, Bill. The Conference of Champions.
Beer with Bill?
Didn't get to have a beer with
Joint
Bill.
with Bill?
So Greg Heller-Lavelle, as bad as a hang as I'm sure he'd be, Greg can confirm this. Rick Barry probably would have been one of the most interesting. Had him on the radio shows back in the Bay Area. Not my favorite. But if I want a good hang and great stories, oh, give me the GOAT, Jackie McMullen. And I've met Jackie Mac a few times. Wow, not here without her.
Guy. All right, time for our photo contest. We show winners of our Beer and Love, which we did at Thanksgiving. Excuse me, we did at Valentine's Day. This is John
what you
Scanlon. Yeah, I like turkey and meat.
Yeah, food is
John
also my
Scanlon.
favorite
This is
holiday, too.
wedding day at the Reading Liederkranz with my own homebrewed beer on tap.
Okay.
Stephen LaMonica. So this is Stephen LaMonica. Wedding day number 1, kissing his wife with a beer. Wedding day number 2, with his wife and a beer. Nicely done.
Different wife? Different
No,
beer?
same wife, same wedding.
Okay.
And
Some clarification there.
Marcia Knapp, this was their crafty save the date announcement. which is, as you see, a bottle of beer with them behind it. And I would just say, take it easy, big fella. He's leaning in there on that disc pretty well, so good. All right, coming back. We've been doing our tour of international beers. Today, we do Mexico, where we find out, does every single one taste exactly the same?
Why are we doing Mexico?
Because it's next on the list. Lew Bryson, Kate Scott, I'm Glen Macnow. From C Brewing, I'm What's Good. Andrew, I need your help. I've got all kinds of friends and family coming into town this weekend. What am I giving them?
Type A West Coast IPA is tough to beat with its bold citrus and pine hop flavors.
Oh yeah, it's Type A for sure.
Absolutely. Then again, there's Ring the Bell American Lager. Crisp, clean, the classic go-to all year round.
Oh, easy drinking it is.
Yes, it is. Then there's always our award-winning Puddler's Row Pub Ale.
Oh, I love me an English style ale, but you know, I'm partial to those hazy IPAs.
Yeah, how can we forget Life Coach Hazy IPA?
Ooh, Andrew, pretty good answers. You know what? I think I'll take them all. It's going to be a memorable weekend. Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
Welcome back to What's Brewing with Lew Bryson, host of See Through Glass podcast. Kate Scott, the great broadcaster for the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm Glen Macnow at C Brewing. You've got what here?
I have their Vienna Lager.
By the way, I love these mugs.
These mugs are something else, I
Sure,
think.
I just want to
They're
drink
great.
out of that all day.
Yeah.
And you've got?
The Jazz Cabbage. It is a rice lager, but you had me at Jazz Cabbage.
Yeah, you would have. Must be honest.
A good name gets
All
a
right,
girl anytime.
so I've got the Lime Danny.
Ooh, that's good.
Nice, a salt lime lager, which brings us to
Oh, yeah.
our country of the week. Kate, it's Mexico this week. You seem unenthused.
No, I'm enthused.
No, she's the enthused one.
You're the unenthused.
I am. It's
you can
true.
feel him rolling
Well,
his eyes
well,
right now.
because
Come
here's
on,
the thing.
summer's
We've
on
done-
its way.
Yeah, I know.
Mexican lagers are my perfect summer beer.
Good.
Maybe it's
Well,
the
here,
California girl
here you
in
go.
me.
Here, take that one.
So
And
I have a
take-
fun story
take
about
that
this when we were in
Here's
Toronto
one.
a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
There was a very fancy, we stay at, fancy hotels because
Sure.
it's the NBA. And I like to drink local wherever I am. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, a Canadian beer. It was listed under the locals, SOL. And I was like, oh, Sol, this is fun. And they bring me this bottle. I have had this bottle 1,000 times before.
This,
Again,
no,
I
we're
did-
not opening that one.
We're not opening
No,
this
I
one.
wanna-
Come on.
Please, that
Okay.
one, Pacifica. By the way, what is the #1 selling beer in the United States, Lew Bryson?
Modelo Especial.
It is this. So let's open this. No,
Okay.
you're opening it.
I'm opening the Victoria.
All right, you open
Come on,
whatever
but
you
This is
want.
one that
Fine.
I learned about while
All
I was
right,
living
we'll
in California
drink
because everyone
that.
drinks Pacifico and
Okay.
Dos Equis.
Yeah.
Victoria is actually a very good beer that a lot of locals in Mexico
All right,
drink
let me
as
ask
well.
the expert. Is there any difference among all of these, or are they all the same beer?
This one is darker.
All right, well, we're going to get to that one. But all these
guys.
others,
The
like,
rest of them are basically the same kind of beer.
Like
I mean, they're the same kind of beer almost
The
everyone in the
lack
beer
of
in
respect
the
out
world
of you.
drinks.
yeah. All right, so this is the brother of that.
Yeah.
Okay, and
This
you-
is my favorite Mexican
okay,
beer.
well, tell us why you like this.
Well, just because it's getting back to the start of our show, right? It's not quite a brown ale, but it's different as far as Mexican lagers are concerned. There's a little more body and depth to it, and you throw a little lime in there.
This
and
is
it's
actually
lovely.
showing the Austrian influence in Mexico. Mexico had an Austrian emperor for about 3 years in the 1860s. They didn't like him, but they liked the beer.
Okay, here's my favorite beer and basketball story. I wanted to sneak this in.
Yeah.
There was a guy named Gary Suter who was the worst player on the worst team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, when they were an expansion team back in the 70s, and just awful.
Oh, yeah.
Train wreck of a team. He played 30 games, averaged 1.6 points per game, was cut.
Room for improvement. Okay.
That's not why he was cut.
Okay.
He was cut because they found him drinking a beer and eating a hot dog at the concession stand in uniform before a game.
Which gets back to what I said earlier. If you're gonna do something like that, don't do it in a hot pink blazer
Right.
or
the
in your
uniform.
Cavs uniform.
Your uniform.
Be a little less conspicuous.
All right, it is time for our Hall of Fame. We started a local beer Hall of
Yeah,
Fame.
I heard about this.
Every week we're inducting somebody. You
Who
go
you got?
first.
Who you got?
My guy's Jack Curtin. Jack Curtin, beer writer. When we moved to Bucks County from Connecticut back in '91, my wife and I, the first week I was here, I read an article about beer by Jack Curtin. He was out there finding this stuff. It was in the Philadelphia Weekly. I don't know if you remember that. Jack kind of brought a journalist nose to this thing, and he would ferret out stories. People loved him. The brewers loved him. The drinkers loved him. He was just a great guy.
Pioneer in writing about beer locally.
Yeah.
I like it. Speaking of pioneers, I'm going Dock Street Brewery. Established in 1985. I think it is the first all-grain brew pub based in Philadelphia after Prohibition.
Yes.
Founded by Jeffrey Ware, Rosemary Serto. Over the years, Dock Street has grown and moved and won awards and led the way with solid beers like Porters and Saisons, Dock Street Rye IPA, Bohemian Pilsner. This is the beautiful Golden IPA.
Real good beer.
Yeah.
We salute you, Dock Street, and put you in our Hall of Fame.
Good can.
Kate Scott, we're going to say goodbye to you. It is always a pleasure. We wish you well.
So great to be here,
We
guys.
hope that
Thanks
maybe,
for having me.
maybe against the odds, there'll be a bit of a postseason run this year.
Or we'll meet again next year.
Or we'll meet
and we'll
again
drink
next
more
year.
beer and
Yeah.
cheer for more Sixers
Before we let you
basketball.
go, on the road, Ala Beer Company?
From time to time, we'll throw back a few.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Good.
I got a good partner there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, nice to see you.
Great to see you guys.
Be
Thanks
well.
for having me.
Lew Bryson and I will be back. Another segment, we'll talk to the owners of this establishment. From Von C Brewing in Norristown, Lew Bryson, Glen Macnow, What's Brewing? Welcome back to What's Brewing. I'm Glen Macnow. That's Lew Bryson. This is Jay Von Zernig. Let me get the job title. Schlep. You said it. Here at Von C Brewing. Schlep works. I get it. And we're back to the
I joined you.
night at the Priory Brown Ale, which we both love. You're drinking?
OG Pills?
Yeah, well, there you go. That makes a lot of sense. Which is kind of, am I right? That's kind of your identity beer?
Yeah, so with the family history dating back to 1860 and having the last master brewer Schmidt still on our team, the OG Pills is something we're super proud of. Won gold at the World Beer Cup back in 2023, so it's one of our best sellers. And
Now you said this. Your dad was a brewer. Take me back. Do it.
yeah, so my uncle was a master brewer, my
Uncle.
father was a master brewer, our grandfather was a master brewer, great grandfather was a master brewer, dating all the way back to 1860.
Was this all at Schmidt's?
All at Schmidt's, yes,
Wow,
sir, yeah.
wow.
Christian Schmidt, who started the brewery back in 1860 at 2nd and Girard.
So you didn't have like a lot of thought about what career to go into, did you?
No, unfortunately Schmidt's closed in 87, so
Yeah.
I'm like, what, I gotta go to college? What's going on here?
Last brewery in Philly, right?
Last brewery in Philly, yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, you know we are doing a Beer Hall of Fame. I wish we had saved it for this week, but a couple weeks ago, Schmidt's Brewery went into our local Beer Hall of Fame. So just want you to.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
Very
absolutely, absolutely want you to know that.
So you make this beer, and it is the actual recipe? Is that?
This is the actual recipe dating back to 1860, about as close as you can get with today's ingredients.
That's
and
it.
again,
There's-
to keep
there's
it,
changes,
yeah,
yeah.
to keep it as authentic as possible. We've
Yeast is the same?
Yeast from the yeast banks was
Wow.
available. Yep. So it's the Schmidt's yeast that came over in 1860.
Wow, that is great. It's the beer our grandfathers drank.
It's just, it's almost too much to contain. I mean, I'm overdoing it, but I'm not. That's pretty amazing.
It's the legendary Philly lager. At one point in
Yeah.
time, 2 out of every 3 draft beers that were poured in Philly was a Schmidt's.
Wow.
Wow.
I think that's great. And
Wow.
by the way, if you come out here, and it's a really fun tap room, you've got some of the old Schmidt's signage around and some of the old stuff. It's really cool. You also have some good events coming up. Let's talk about that. St. Patrick's Day, what do you got going on there?
Patrick's Day weekend, we'll have our Mick Chernick Stout release, our Nitro Stout, and we'll also have the Irish Dancers here Friday and Sunday.
Are those the ones that don't use their arms, just their legs?
A whole lot of tapping and scratching
Yeah.
up the floor, that's for sure.
Right? Okay.
And then we'll have on Saturday, we'll have the BREW Fife and Drum Band. They come and march through the whole tap room. It's really powerful and loud, very cool. So that's our St. Patrick's
Okay.
weekend.
And you got an anniversary coming up?
4 years, 4 years.
Good for you.
So 4-year anniversary will be June 6th through the 8th. We'll have all sorts of live bands, live entertainment, starting with Jake Bracey on Friday. And then we got the Garden Jazz Band, award-winning jazz band here during the day Saturday. We got the Grateful Dead Band playing outside, hopefully if Mother Nature cooperates on Saturday.
You have a nice outdoor space,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we got about 3,000 square foot out there. When Mother Nature cooperates, it's a great place to hang out and drink some beers.
Good.
And we'll cap off that weekend with Ava Di Fiore and also the School of Rock. The kids come down and just like their coming out party and get to play.
Oh, love that. You guys have also, you're working on increasing distribution?
Yes, we signed on with Muller starting 10-1. So the Muller's got the Philly 5 for us, and then we've also signed on with Banco, which gets us distributed on the each side of PA all the way up to the New York state line.
Yeah.
And then we've been with Harrison for a couple of years, so we're basically from South Jersey up.
Great. And Lew and I are very impressed. You've got a beer that you've got coming out for a cause. Let's go into that.
Let's hear about that.
So Boundless Love, this one's obviously near and dear to our heart. Every year Yakima Chief gives you a hop blend, as long as you can donate
Yakima Chief, the hop supplier.
Hop supplier,
Yeah.
As long as you donate $1 from each 4-pack and $1 from each pint and $2 from each 4-pack goes back to ALS research. Our mother passed away from ALS. This is one near and dear to our heart, so it's Boundless Love. We make a hazy IPA for it each year. This year our can release will come out on Mother's Day, and we'll have it available all month of May, which happens to be ALS Awareness Month.
I think that's great.
It is great.
By the way, as you know, one of our sponsors is Montgomery County and Valley Forge Tourism. And when you are here, you are very close to one of my favorite places. Went there with my 4-year-old grandson recently. Elmwood Park Zoo, it's like right around the.
You can zip line right down from our back door, pretty much. Yeah, it's right across the creek. It's and getting closer.
Yeah, and a really fun place, a real treasure.
I am told the first zoo in America that was able to serve beer.
Well, there you go.
Oh,
So,
like that.
or you can come here before or after, and you can take my 4-year-old grandson because he's a lot of fun. Anyway, listen, Jay, it is always a pleasure for us. You've been a big friend of the show. What's that? Maybe our 4th time back here?
This might be our 4th time.
I think it is, and
This is my first, and I'm glad I finally got here.
It's your first time
I've
here?
been wanting to get here literally for a couple years. It's good to be here.
What's your verdict?
Oh, I'm coming back.
There you go. So show up whenever you want. There's a good chance that Lew is bellied up to the bar. Anyway, Jay, thanks for having us. Lew, I'll see you next week. Everybody, thank you so much for being part of What's Brewing.